Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, GadaboutMark. Today I'm going to talk about how you can plan your trip. So probably when you're watching this video I'll be getting on the plane to go to my next trip. And if you'd like to get one of these maps, I'm going to be giving one away for free and I'll let you know how at the end of this video. But I recently scratched off Japan because I will be going to Japan and this is how I plan my trip. I recently planned my trip, so I want to share this information with you about the steps I took to plan my trip. The first thing you're going to want to be doing when you're looking to go on your trip is decide where you want to go. And once you decide where you want to go, then you can decide whether you need a passport or not. And it'll take about 4 or 8 weeks to get a passport. So if you're looking to travel internationally, there's some steps you need to take. Now the next thing you'll want to look into is whether where you're going or wanting to go is actually safe and what types of visas you would need and vaccinations. Vaccinations are important. I would definitely recommend to get the hepatitis shots, tetanus shots, and be up to date with other vaccinations. Now the best website I can recommend for US citizens is the travel.state.gov website. And you can look up their country information and type in the country you want to go to, and you can actually see that information, and they'll give you up-to-date information on hazards and warnings about particular areas. I also use other websites and stuff like that, but I found there was someone I follow on Pinterest, and it's WANDERSHARE. It's this board on Pinterest that gives a clear and concise overview of everything you need to know in order to go to that location. I found it was actually more useful than I thought. And so the next thing you're going to want to look into is buying a plane ticket. Now, if you have a lot of time, you can kind of research and continue to look at plane tickets throughout the week. I found the best time to get plane tickets are typically Tuesdays, and flying out in the middle of the week like a Wednesday is a good plan as well. For your budget, if you really want to be flexible, the more time you give yourself to look for things like your plane ticket's going to be the most expensive thing for your trip, most likely, if you're doing an international trip. But then your accommodations and the activities. And one of the things I want to talk about more about in another video is day trips. Day trips are probably the most expensive excursion you can do on your trip because you're trying to fit everything in a day. So I'll be talking about that in another video. But as far as budget goes, you don't want to, I wouldn't recommend going and getting a loan to do a trip. Take the simple steps of not going out to eat as much, saving that money so you can have enough money to do your trip. And for your budget, you're going to have a lot of miscellaneous things that you did not prepare for. When you get there, you might have to pay for a taxi ride that you didn't expect because the subway was down. You might have something you want to do that costs more money. Make sure you have some extra money set aside just for those inconveniences, because setting the budget so tight that you don't have any room to make mistakes, you're going to be disappointed if you don't have the extra money on hand. Travel can be expensive. So I've always looked at it like I'm going to a restaurant. I know I'm going to eat at a restaurant. I'm not cooking this at home. So I know it's going to come with a cost. And if I'm at a restaurant, I know I'm going to tip. The next thing you're going to want to do is once you do book your ticket, you're going to want to inform your bank of where you're going. This will make it possible so then when you're using your card, you want to tell them what days you're going to be there so that your card can be activated to be used in that region, so you don't have problems once you get to the location finding out that your card is denied because they think it's fraudulent charges to your account. When you go to the bank, you're also going to want to get just a business card. And when you get that business card, you will have an email, because you're not going to have telephone service if you're going to international flights. That's what I'm talking about mostly today, is international flights. The other thing you're going to want to do is get some cash, because if you lose your card, you want to have another way of paying for things. And so having cash on hand is a good thing. I actually made the mistake. I went to the bank that first day after I booked my flight last week and got cash. But one thing I didn't look at was whether it was newer currency or not. So when I got it, I had a bill from 1981. And I was like, I can't even tell if this is counterfeit or not. So I went back to the bank and I asked for newer bills. Because when you're exchanging bills at the currency exchange, they're going to want to make sure that it's legit, because it's not their currency. Bigger bills are nicer. The next thing I would recommend is buying things for that trip. Whether you need a new toothbrush, go out and get some beef jerky, wet wipes, hand sanitizers, medicines that help you rest on the plane. You want to make sure you go out and get that. And depending on where you're going, that might be different for your situation, because you might need to buy a jacket. I bought a jacket for where I'm going, and you just want to make sure that you have that stuff before you go for your trip and pack. Along with going out and buying stuff, go and get yourself a haircut. Trim your nails. Do whatever you do that makes you feel comfortable in everyday life. And make sure to bring those things with you as well, like your fingernail clippers, your Q-tips, your comb. Because when you're on your trip, for one, you're not going to have the time to do that stuff necessarily. And it'll be nice just to start fresh. Then the next thing I would recommend is booking a hotel or hostel. Now, the farther in advance you start looking at the hostels, the better chance you're going to find one that's in the location you want and for the price range you want. I would recommend Airbnb as well, because they have some great deals. Now, in my situation, booking everything within a week, I didn't have much options, but I did find a great hostel for $20 that I can stay at, and I know how to get there. And that leads into the next thing, is book a hostel where you're going to be doing activities. That would be the best bet, or wherever's most convenient, because you can start brainstorming for your trip of what things in that area, for one, drew your interest into actually going there, but then what activities do you want to do? I'm going to Tokyo, and I would really like to see the fish market. I heard it recently moved, but that was based on the research I had done. And so I need to know how to get there and what other things I want to do there. I have been planning and looking at. I'm looking for more experiences. I've had a lot of trips where I've gone out and seen the sights, take the Instagram photo, and leave. This type of trip, I'm looking for more experiences, to experience the culture and maybe learn how to do something like roll sushi, or learn to make something. And for me, one of the things I find key is learning the public transportation. I typically go to bigger cities, so knowing how to get around is almost number one for research when I start looking to do a trip. Because if I know the layout of the city and how to use the transportation, then I can go anywhere that I want to go, and that just leaves the ideas of what places I want to go. So then once I know the city, I can go to the places in the most efficient manner possible, because I'm on a limited time. This also is important for the airport. You can get great deals on different types of transportation from and to the airport. And so knowing when you get off that plane, you're going to be exhausted. You've been flying for who knows how long, and already having the idea or understanding of how to get to your location, your hostel, your hotel, takes a huge relief off your shoulders if you plan that in advance. Lastly is packing. Decide the bags you need, how much you're going to take, the stuff you're gonna wear. I'll make a video of how to pack, hopefully in the next couple weeks after I get back from my trip. I would like to do a series of planning your trip, day trips, solo travel, packing, and why you should travel. Those are the things I'm thinking about in the future for more videos. Whether you're going on a solo trip or with a group of friends, let someone back home know where you're going and know your itinerary. You can print out your itineraries, your plane confirmations, and take them with you, your hostel confirmation, because sometimes you don't pay up front in full. You actually, for my hostel, I paid a little bit, but I'll actually have to pay the rest when I arrive. And also, take a picture of your passport and have a copy on you through your email and possibly even a paper copy. And I'm going to leave a copy with someone at home. So if I do have trouble, I know I have a copy of my passport if I lose it. If you want to keep up with me on my trip to Japan, follow me on Instagram, gadaboutmark, and I'll be posting it on Facebook as well. So I would like to give one of these maps away. This is a scratch off map. I'll be giving one of these away in my Milford Sound video. Thanks for watching.